Hi guys, how's it going? First and foremost, I'd like to thank somebody who's watching this channel for reaching out yesterday. I had a wonderful conversation with them. It was nice to have a genuine conversation with somebody that's not like, it feels like they're just a normal human being. So thank you for reaching out and saying something. Loved having a conversation with anybody that wants to reach out. Depending on how big the YouTube channel gets, obviously can't talk to everybody all the time, and time is, you gotta schedule and balance your time. So you can't speak to everybody, right? But thank you for reaching out. So today, before I pull cards today, I'm going to pull cards today. But before I do that, I want to talk about being nice. Now, I hear a lot of stuff, about on especially the business community. It's always the business community, right? Because it's like this feeding frenzy of people trying to sell stuff to each other. And sometimes, you're selling a real service, that you can, and you have to manage your time. We live in a society that lives on money, right? So you can't just, well, you can. People don't understand this. You can serve one another, and then the universe will take care of you. You don't have to sell a service. I think that's a little bit of a misconception out there, because if you're always in service to the people around you, you'll always be protected. Otherwise, and then if those people aren't in service to you, they have fallen into karmic cycles. That's the bigger picture. So, and this is something that I've been shown for a while now. It's funny that I'm saying this because I hadn't even planned on talking about this, but when you put yourself in service to the people around you, for one thing, you're forced to grow. You have no choice, because if you're not serving them, then they won't support you. Same thing happens in the business community. If you're not serving the people around you, especially as inflation rates go up, then that community will not serve you. And if you're always selling a service for money, and you're always placing money in front of the ability to serve one another, then eventually it's going to leave you behind. Because people just, if all they know that all you care about is money, right? You don't care about me. All right? I love you guys. And so a father's place, when he loves his children who want to steal from each other, sometimes he's got to yell at them. Sometimes it's not nice, right? I mean, what good would it mean? I've raised 4 different children. I've actually lost a child. But I've raised 4 different kids in different scenarios. And if one kid is stealing from the other kid and doesn't want to share, it doesn't do me any good to be nice. Honey, would you please not steal from, Bobby? Please. They're just going to look at you as like, you're a sucker. Right? So you hear all this stuff about nice. Now, if you want to be nice to me, I'll be nice to you. But if you don't want to, then I ain't going to be nice to you. Okay? That's how that works. Like if your child's behaving like a brat, you have to be, sometimes you got to say, hey, look, you need to go sit in a corner. Figure this out. Grow up. That's what's happening this year. Are you guys excited about it? I hope so. Because that's what's happening. I'm going to continue to paste probably more and more raunchy posts on LinkedIn and Facebook. It's going to be exciting. Because I don't care if they like me, right? It's not my place to be liked. It's my place to tell the truth. And love comes in both forms. I mean, you don't love your children if you just let them get away with being a little brat. Because then you're raising a brat. Why would you do that? Make your children honor each other and respect each other. And if you're not doing that as a parent, and if you're not doing it for the people around you, if you're not saying, hey, look, you need to respect me, knock it off, right? Then what? I'll respect you if you respect me. But if you have no respect, and it's obvious when people have no respect for themselves, they won't respect you either. And usually it's deep-seated, and sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes they don't even realize that that's the problem. It is what it is. So, that being said, before I get going here, I'll tell you guys a story. This is a story that happened a long time ago. When I say I raised 4 kids, I have one that's biologically mine, but all kids are mine. I love children dearly. I love all of you dearly, right? Otherwise, I love everybody. There's not one person in my life that I've met that I haven't fallen in love with, and I know that's hard to believe for some of you, but it always comes. But it's easy to see where people are at and whether or not if they're not being nice. Most of the time, it's easier just to walk away. And there's reasons why people aren't that way, but sometimes we need, and I'm included. Sometimes I need, somebody needs to shake a finger at me. Hey, wake up! All right, what are you doing? Because you have to make sure that you're disciplined in what you're doing. Do the things that you need to do for yourself. Do the things that you need to do for other people so that you can be supported. It's that simple. Anyway, one of my first relationships actually was my first serious relationship. She had 2 younger children, and when I met her, they were 5 and 7, and this was in 2000, so this is 23 years ago. They were Corbin. I love this boy. He was the younger of the 2. He was 5, and I think when he was 7, this was like 2 years later, we were living in a house in Richland together. And he really didn't have a good set of boundaries where he understood when he should or shouldn't be in trouble. Because as a parent, if you're bipolar or if you have chemical imbalances or, it's all generational trauma. And so, I understood all that. And so I didn't think negatively about where anybody was at. But at the time, I wasn't old enough to set the right boundaries to make sure that, because that relationship wouldn't have lasted as long as it did as I am now. There's no way, right? I'd be like, hey, you need to, whatever you got to do, go do it. Take care of yourself. Don't get in another relationship. Heal yourself. If you need me, I can give you good advice and the best advice that I can give to anybody, and this is true for anybody, put yourself in service to the people around you without selling a service. Because when you're doing it for money, you don't have to grow. Anyway, my son was, Corbin, I call him my son, he spilled some milk in the kitchen. And he thought that I was just going to come unglued and just, go through the wall. His mom wasn't home, and it was just me and Sam. And it was just like, it's no big deal. It's a mistake. Clean it up. But he didn't clean it up. He expected me and wanted me to react in a way that made him feel like a victim. Right? This is a common thing. Sometimes people want you to react in a way where they feel like a victim. And so I was like, I wrestled with this kid for 3 hours trying to get him to clean up the milk and trying to help him understand that there's nothing wrong with him. He wanted me to admit that there was something wrong with him, and there wasn't. He's a good kid at heart. All he had to do is understand that. And God, I think about it now. I'll start crying because it was like, because I could see the trauma in this poor little boy of thinking that there's something wrong with him because of the way and it's all generational, right? It was because, his parents thought that there was something wrong with them. And so after 3 hours, I finally got him to clean up his milk. He wanted me to clean him up and just get mad at him for being bad. It's not bad to spill the milk. I'm sorry. Everybody makes mistakes. There's nothing wrong with... and at the same time, you have to be stern, but kind. There's two sides to that coin. You can't... Don't ever break when it comes to being of service to the people around you. That is what will help people understand how much you care about them. Because if all you do, if all you're there for is $1, people will never expect you that you actually care about them. Ever. I hope this message goes to the right people. Maybe some of you, don't understand what's going on here in this big experiment we call the world. There are kids out there that can't feed themselves, and so they're my kids. I don't care. It's easy to say, well, no, you're not responsible for those kids. It's like we're all responsible for them, right? They're in this world together with us. And so until we start, and I can't do it alone, all I can do is tell as many people as possible to make sure that we are raising our kids correctly. You have to love and support your children. At the same time, you have to be stern with them and set the right boundaries so that they understand what they should and shouldn't be doing. Otherwise, they never learn. And if you don't teach them at an early age, they grow up to be brats. Especially when if you have a family. It was wonderful for me enough to have, even though I didn't receive support in certain areas, I had a family that was extremely loving, the best that they knew how to. And we took in strays, right? We just did. Speaking of that, I got a story about that one. So last night, I hear this crammling around, right? And the neighbors have got 2 black cats. One's got white feet and the other one is all black. And they're both kind of like bushy, long-haired cats. They're pretty big cats. Actually, I don't know if they're bigger than Louie. Louie's a pretty big cat, but they're pretty big cats. And I hear this clamoring around right outside my bedroom. The laundry room's right across from my bedroom. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, it sounded like I had a marmot in the house or something underneath the house. And so I go out there and it's like, there's this, I was, what's going on? So I walk into and he must have heard me. I walk into the laundry room and one of the black cats from next door comes climbing out from behind the washing machine. I'm assuming he was looking for a mouse or something. And, I'm like, what are you doing here? That's what I said. And he just looked at me like, is it okay for me to be here? I'm like, no, get out of here. You got food over there. It's different when you're taking in somebody that really needs a place to stay and needs to build themselves up and they need the right support. That's all we need for each other, right? Is that when people are in a place where they need support in the right way, then we need to show them support, especially if they're asking for help. There's so many people out there that are asking for help because everybody else is worshiping money. And because of that, inflation goes up and people get put in situations that, hardworking people. There are hardworking people living in the woods in Seattle right now because they can't afford housing. True story. And so it's a growing process. You are seeing the world go through a giant growing process. And you're going to see big businesses collapse. Now, if you fall into hysteria and isolation because you've always believed that you have to have something in your pocket in order to serve someone, then you'll end up isolating yourself. That's the lesson you're going to see over the next 8 years, and it's going to escalate this year. So this is a warning to everybody watching this channel. Nobody's safe from this. If you don't serve the people around you and you don't serve them in the right way, then your heart will become colder and colder and colder. And that's what will happen. So, yeah. And sometimes you have to be a little bit nasty. Nice doesn't cut it all the time, right? So, where's the deck I wanted to use? Here it is. So let's hear it. Other than that, that's the download I got this morning. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. I have a lot of stories like that. Raising kids is not easy. Right? That's one of the most challenging things that you'll ever go through. And then you'll know what your kids are like when you're getting older. How well what kind of relationship you have with your children as to what kind of job you did. I made mistakes. We all make mistakes raising children, right? And if you hear me, it's like, oh, you're Mr. Goody Two-Shoes or whatever. I hear kind of stuff like that every once in a while in the group collective, and it's like, no, I'm not better than anybody, right? Everything is a process of internal development and growth, and you have to, know thyself. For one thing, you need to know how you need to be treated in order to treat other people, and what you will and won't accept. Right? Support is everything. And if people are mutually supportive, you never have to get nasty. Right? You just don't. But when people are not supportive, they went flying out. Let's see what we got on the floor here. Maybe this will tell us something. What do we got? Morning, Ten of Vessels, Happiness, and the Woodward. The Woodward's interesting. This reminds me of look at this card. You guys can see this, the Woodward. He's kind of facing off in an adventure. He's got a cat on one side and a wand on the other. But he's also holding a little it looks like a cup and like a plant. I don't know. Hold on. I need to look at this a little closer. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. I don't know if you guys can see this. What he's holding there, it's like a little, I don't know. So there's some mourning there, and it's okay to be sad for, but there's also happiness at the same time, right? So there's two sides to every coin. It's interesting that these three cards came out like this. Because when you're charging forward like this, and I think I'm just going to just pull an Oracle card after these three cards because I don't think I really need to explain much about this. You can be happy for where you're at and happy to, I am extremely grateful that I am where I'm at in this life at this time. Because for one thing, I don't give a shit what people think. And at the same time, I love them unconditionally. You have to be that way. Or else, if you're not that way, then it means you're trying to get something from them. Right? We're not. You're always in service. To be in service means to be who you got to be. And it changes. It continually changes. Telling you. And so there's mourning for the loss of people who just haven't gotten to there yet, but there's also happiness at the same time. So for all of you that are on this path, and I know there's a lot of people that are on this path, especially when you're in service to the people around you, and you can see that what's happening in the world, there's also happiness. There's happiness and grief, but make sure you're still doing what it does, whatever it is that you need to do for the people around you. And don't do it for money. Just do it because you love them. And if somebody needs something, make sure they know it's okay to ask. I mean, I have been blessed with people that in my life that would do whatever I ask because they know that if they asked me to do anything, I would gladly do it for them if they need it. Now, if they just want me to do it just because, that's a little different, right? So you kind of have to set some boundaries there. Know thyself. So let's pull an oracle card. Where's my oracle back? Love you guys. And I can use your support. Support my YouTube channel. Support circuitbreaker.com. With a K, Circuit Breaker. CircuitBreaker.com. Check that website out. If you guys like it, let me know what you think. Throw in the comments. Integrity. Pull the integrity card, right? It's integrity. Don't ever sacrifice your integrity for short gains and wealth. Put yourself in service to the people around you, and you will heal your heart space. You'll be so grounded in who you are, and you'll always be standing in the balance of the two coins. Be loving, and love sometimes is pretty stern, and sometimes it's supportive. But you have to discern when each one is necessary, right? So, love you guys. Have a great day, and we'll catch you later.